gonna come up with something random. You know what I mean?
That's it, man. He's winning with spontaneous situations right now. All right, cool. We're live, pal.
Okay, wrestling fans, this is the first official podcast from myself, Magic J, and
Scanduce, the hip hop original, and we are the Mega Powers.
Mega Powers podcast. You know, you see the visuals already, man. A lot of wrestling stuff has been happening for the last 3 weeks. We decided to come together as a a two-part duo, a tag team. You get me? Gavin, AEW's got the triple tag team business, 3-belt business, but we keep it original with the 2 belts. You get me? You know, we decided to call it the Mega Powers because 2 of the greatest wrestlers, which are
Macho Man Randy Savage and the Hulkster Hulk Hogan, came together in the late 80s to form the Mega Powers, and the game changed, man. And that's what this, that's what this podcast is, or will be one day, the game changer, and it's you're gonna get us 2 talking, but every now and again we're gonna bring in some special guests, to come in and just enhance the experience, give you some more like characters, more personality, more insight and info on other wrestling promotions. I guess our prime focus really is going to be on the WWE and AEW, and I know we'll throw in some bits from the independents as well.
From Impact Wrestling to Major League Wrestling to Pro Noah Wrestling to New Japan Pro Wrestling. We'll throw in some of that. But as Candy said, we are focused more on WWE, which I still love WWF. But the deal is already with the World Wildlife Federation. Well, we're still going to be dealing with WWE and the new, franchise what came out in 2019, All Elite Wrestling. And All Elite Wrestling has been doing so great. They came over to the UK, a couple of weeks ago. I wish I was there. I watched it live. Did you watch it live, or was you there?
I was supposed to be there. I had big up my boy Sire, man. I had a ticket, and I got stuck in Skegness. I couldn't make it to London, so I missed the show.
So what? You couldn't phone Magic J and say, Magic J, there's a ticket there. Let's go.
Oh, that's a good point. We're fully looking for someone to take my ticket as well, man. That's actually mad. That's a faux pas. But we're gonna go back next year and represent in a major way as the Mega Powers. Make sure we get the exclusive interviews and just represent correctly, bro. But you saying that made me think of something, and it's a question I'm gonna pose to you and the people watching if they want to put their views in the comment section as well. Yeah, if the World Wildlife Fund, right, went out of business, right, and said, WWE, you can have your F back. Do you think they should go back to the WWF? What do you reckon?
For the old school viewers of wrestling, right, they would love it because remember us lot, we are the ones who was born in the 80s. You know what I mean? We're probably touching our 40s or in our 40s, but yeah, we're the ones who watched the original WWF, World Wrestling Federation, and you never can get better than having World Wrestling Federation, not World whatever it had back in the flipping 60s, 70s, where it had about 3 W's and an F at the end. But but yeah, I would love it, but it is because it's been almost nearly 23 years now or 20 years now.
20 plus years, yeah,
that it's been WWE. The Gen Zs, the Gen Zs who grew up seeing us lot watching WWE, now they're used to it. They know the history of WWF, but I don't think it's worth it going back to WWF because they're already patting the E already, and the Gen Z generation is already watching the entertainment side of things now. You know what I mean? But just to keep the legacy, they should do as what they've done. I think they've done it during the pandemic. They've done a throwback show.
Yeah.
They've done a throwback show and everything was based on when we used to do stuff in, is it Madison Square Gardens or one of those arenas in New York, those iconic arenas in New York, what they used for years.
Yeah, I think was it the anniversary of Monday Night Raw? And they took it way back to 1993, how they used to dress and the original logos. But I mean, to piggyback off that point, if they was ever allowed to have the F back, they wouldn't, like, when you watch old videos, they have to blur out the logos. They got to blur out the logos on the belts. Like every they can't even show the old WWF logo anymore. So if they was allowed to do that again,
even in Young Rock, even when I watched Young Rock, which I really loved that show, they done the same thing. They created the belts again, from the IC belt to the world belt to the tag team belt, but they just put it as WW.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And then you got T-shirts, which was just WW, but with the 90s or that era logo design. But nah, they wouldn't go back. It's too long. It's long because we're looking to the future. Because
I hear that, man. I hear that, bro. But it's a bit of a liberty. It's like they got violated by Panda Bear, bro. That's how I see it.
Yeah, exactly. Look at the colors, Panda Bear. Yeah, like they got violated for real. So it's all about moving to the future, and there's so much great wrestlers what was born in the early 2000s who are now wrestling. You know, so end of the day, forget about the past. Don't say forget about the past. We never forget about the past, because we're out of the past and want me no future. But remember the past, but move on to the future.
Right. So before we move on, right, because this is the introductory show, right, and the people want to know like a little bit about us and our past and how we got into the whole wrestling thing. You know, I'm gonna pose this question to you, and then I'll probably backfire it on myself. Right? How did you get into wrestling, and who was your first favorite wrestler growing up? And
wow. How I got into wrestling, obviously the usual thing, going to family houses, you know. Do you know what? Big up to my cousin M Stair. He's got a music label called Awesome Recordings, Elite Studios. It was being around him. He's older than me. Yeah, so he was watching wrestling, and then going to my other set of cousins' house and watching wrestling. But WWF at that time, which is E now, I never really had a fan favorite wrestler. I went to WCW, and my favorite wrestler, wait for it, my favorite wrestler, right? And this, and to people, the people down here right now, if you know who Ultimate Warrior's best friend was, and used to be a bodyguard with, then you know who I'm talking. Let me pause for a minute. You know who it is? The Stinger.
Sting. What?
Sting. I love the iconic Sting because he had the face paint coming around like that. And then when I saw him, I was like, and then when I saw Ultimate Warrior, I was like. Then when I done my research later on in time, I found out they used to, you know, work in bars together and clubs together as a bodyguard, and you know, someone, I can't remember who approached them, and then they was doing the bodybuilding thing. Then they wrestled together at one stage, and then they separated. You know, obviously one went to WWE, one went to WCW, but they kept their iconic face paint style, but in a different way. So I'm being real. I'm not even faking the funk. Sting in his prime was my guy. I don't know why, but he was my guy. And then when it came to WWE, he never had the best mic skills. But there's two guys, and it's so crazy. They come from the same country. Bret the Hitman Hart and R.I.P. Chris Benoit.
Yeah. Okay.
But I love wrestling. When it comes to factions now, WCW, when you do this, who are they?
Right, for the Horsemen, yeah?
Come on, the Four Horsemen. Like, them guys was gangsters. Like, the Four Horsemen was my guys. And then obviously WWEF, Legion of Doom, the Heart Foundation, what's it called? Who else? The Demolitions. Those guys was.
Oh, Demolition, yeah. So what would you say is your favorite lineup of the Four Horsemen? Like, what's the ultimate lineup?
The ultimate lineup is obviously, woo! Man himself, Rick himself, and having who else was in the crew again back then? I think it's the original lot. Dean Malenko wasn't part of them, was they?
I think a bit later. So you're talking about Arn Anderson.
What's his name? Who's a coach now in AEW?
Yeah. Arn Anderson.
Arn Anderson.
Tully.
Yeah.
Tully Blanchard. Yeah.
Tony Blanchard, Arn Anderson, and then there was one more. There was one more, but I forgot the name now.
I think Barry Windham. Barry Windham was with them at one point. It might have been Barry Windham. Yeah. There was so many. There were so many members of that faction.
When it comes to the era of like the 90, 95, 96, 97, 98, obviously it has to be DX and NWO, like.
Right. So that was peak time for you, man. The Attitude Era.
Peak time for me because I love both.
Monday Night Wars. So what side was you on, man, for the Monday Night Wars?
It was hard. I was a bit of a Judas, blood. I was like Sol Campbell leaving Tottenham to go to Arsenal, blood.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? They're coming back again. You get me? Because I love what both of them done. You get me? Even when D-Generation rolled up with the truck to WCW and doing their mad thing, and NWO doing their thing and recruiting people one by one. But it's so crazy how NWO started, because it started with one man and these two people on the background of your picture, one man walking in, Scott Hall and Nash walking out, and my man, the Hulkster, jumping on, leg dropping Macho. So it was mad. And then later on, what happened? Macho joined who? The NWO. And Brutus the Barber Beef came and it was mad. Like, I love that era. And then obviously the LWO, you get what I'm saying? Came and that era was nice. But Vince McMahon probably owned the company from then anyway. Until he said, yeah, I bought the company. He owned it from then. You get me? He owned it from then, but yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I was gonna say, bro. You took the question. I went zoom.
Yeah, sorry, man.
So coming in, man. Again, just like you, man. I remember going to my bigger cousin's house and then just seeing them all in the room watching. I think it was like Survivor Series 1990 or something. But the first time I saw anything, and I wasn't even sure what I was seeing. And then I remember later on seeing. I do remember Ultimate Warrior was my guy. Like right then, like right at the early start, it was all about the Warrior, man. And then seeing like him fighting Sergeant Slaughter for the title, and Macho King came in and just licked him over the head with the scepter, man. And seeing him get beat and just being shocked, like what? Nobody can beat the Warrior, and it. Yeah, man. And then getting his revenge and then just destroying him at WrestleMania, man. So originally entry point Ultimate Warrior. But as I kind of got a bit more schooled to the game, man, it was like British Bulldog because he was from England. And then, but I was like you, man, I was a Bret Hart guy. I was into the technicians, the excellence of execution. And yeah, man, even though at the time I didn't even realize he didn't have no mic skills, but it was just like, I just liked the way he wrestled. I just like the fact that man was brave enough to turn up in bright pink and just do his thing, Before Killer Cam, bro, before it was Bret Hart, bro, Yeah, man. I wasn't big into WCW, if I'm honest. I mean, I watched a little bit. Like, I remember seeing Too Cold Scorpio, like doing the flips and that. Or when Ron Simmons was the first black man to win a heavyweight championship when he beat Vader. You know, those type of things stick out to me about WCW, man. Monday Night Wars, I was more of a WWF guy, if I'm honest, up until Brett kicked. And the whole, like you said, the rise of Stone Cold, The Rock, D-Generation X, you know, it was just like every single week they were smashing it, man. They had all the characters, you know, I was going through adolescence around the time the Divas came out, you know, all of that business. So it's just, yeah, man, that was like fun memories for me, man. And it's just amazing to think now that's like, what, 25 plus years ago, which is crazy. You know, and we just saw Trish Stratus take a like bump off the top of a steel cage, you know. So it's just like some of these wrestlers, they don't even age, to be honest. But like, yeah, man, that was amazing times back then. You know?
And TikTok and
all of that, all of that, man. But yeah, you know, it's just seeing the progression, and obviously as we get older and we get a more deeper understanding of the business, you know, things back then look even better now because you start to get a better understanding of how these matches are like constructed, you know, and you have a deeper respect for what these wrestlers put their bodies through, you know, just to entertain you, you know, and yeah, man, a lot of that stuff just shaped our childhood as well, man, and yeah, that's why we're here with the Mega Powers, we're bringing you some of the vintage classics and then just hitting you with the newness as well, man, you know. So yeah, so that's I guess I mean, so, unless there's anything else you want to add, I mean, that's an introduction.
Because what I was going to add to these people is that, you know, just keep in tune to our Instagrams. We're gonna start posting up stuff on there, and you know, Twitter is turned to X, so I just call it Twitter X. We're gonna post up like, you know, iconic footages and key moments and stuff what's going on, and you know, retweets of our favorite wrestling companies. So just be in tune to that. And one thing I have to say,
we're on TikTok as well, right?
Yeah. We're on TikTok as well. We're on TikTok. I created a TikTok, so we're on there as well. So hopefully Snapchat will come in a hot minute, you know. But one thing I must say is, you know, thank you for inviting me to the WWE SummerSlam experience. I know that's past and went, but I have to, you know, big you up for that. You know what I mean? Because that was an experience, and I got to meet so many people there. Gavin, I never caught myself on TV, but it's all love though. But maybe next time. But like, I have to big you up for bringing me and putting me involved, and you know, meeting the people there, man. And you know, hopefully there's going to be more major events that you know I get invited to myself. Even live shows when they come over.
Yeah, and basically, like what you're saying, man, this is just the beginning of the journey, man. This is episode 1. You know, one day we're gonna look back on this episode and be like, "Rah, man, you lot really stepped up the production quality." But you know, we gotta start at the gutter, man. We gotta start with the Zooms.
Little bedroom with pillows around and stuff. We'll be in a big studio.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. So love that. You know, this is episode number 1 in the bag. So what is the tag for if people want to follow us? Is it Mega Powers TV or something, or
for the Twitter X or Twitter, it is the Mega Powers TV. And if you guys wanted to go across to the good old Instagram, it is the Mega Powers podcast. You know what I mean? So that's the Mega Powers podcast. That's on the good old Instagram. So you guys can follow us on there, but hopefully everything will be on screen. You know, so when you guys are watching this, you guys can, you know, click or look in the description. You guys will click there. So we will post everything down below. So the Twitter X is the Mega Powers TV, and Instagram is the Mega Powers podcast, and then everything else. We will put everything else underneath.
Wicked, man. So yeah, so that's episode 1 in the bag. Join us for episode 2, where we're going to give you a recap of everything that's been happening in the WWE recently. We're talking about the latest pay-per-view, Payback, and obviously Raw and SmackDown. And then we'll be discussing what we think will be happening in the future in WWE, and discussing some of the current storylines. So yeah, until next time. Salute.